It is my friend, my colleague, the icon, Demi Moore! I'm just saying, look at this coordination. By the way, I have been so excited for this. It's like the date I've been looking forward to. I'm not kidding. I love you. Also,
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, we've
excited
also
to talk about this.
All right, let's just go back to Charlie's Angels for a second.
By the way, I was thinking about it on the way over here, going, oh my gosh, it's been
23 years since we filmed it.
But, yeah.
It was in 2001 when we filmed it.
Was that 2001?
Might have been
2002.
Well, it came out in 2002 for sure.
Oh my God, okay.
Or maybe 3. You know what?
Anyway, it's so long.
Somewhere around there. Being with you on Charlie's Angels was another level for me of a door being opened of how crazy the attention was. The scene with you in the bikini.
Oh my God. I mean, you know, he called me to start shooting 3.5 weeks. So
Mick G, the director?
Yes, and I had no time to think about what I looked like, which was almost better.
By the way, no one can do in 3 weeks what you show up with, so you were clearly good to go. Like, there's no magic wand that gets you to that in 3 weeks. I've done a 3-week diet. I didn't end up there.
I think I wasn't prepared for the focus that happened from it.
That's what...
I wasn't prepared. I mean, I was prepared just for the scene, for what we were doing in the scene, but I had no idea the amplification, ironically, that was specifically tied to my age.
Were you 40 then?
I turned 40 when we were shooting the movie.
And is it true that your daughters, you know, and you, Tallulah, Scout, Rumor, discussed, like, going out in a bikini? Like, did you talk about it?
I mean, they were... I had taken a break only to be with them. I stopped and was just with them until they finally were like, you have to do this movie. We loved the first one. You have to do this movie. And please, aren't you going to ever work again? There was a part where I realized that being with them, it was never a question. I needed to be with them. My life was going through a transition with my marriage, and that they needed me home. And then I also realized that I was cheating them out of getting the full expression of who I was by not working. And that would be an important part of modeling, like, the scope of life. Yeah.
You're one of the few people that I feel like I have such a carbon copy journey of with so many things.
We have a few.
I really don't have that many people I can discuss, like, why it was so important to me to step away from my job, because I felt like it was my only option to protect my children.
Yes.
And that's not something I think I've ever discussed, actually.
Yeah, I hear that. And you were going through a transitional time as well.
I was also separating from their dad, and life was not going to be that Christmas card that we get every year, which is, they're all so fancy and cute. Like, there is a humor to them. But it was the death of a dream. I was devastated, but at that time, I really didn't know how to handle things. Also, after a lifetime in our job, it was easy for me to step back.
Away. Me too. I think there's also a part where when you are a working parent, because I don't want to just say moms, but in particular for a mom, you're always juggling, and something is always getting slightly cheated. And at that moment, I just knew that I couldn't I couldn't make them anything less than the ultimate priority. And that having a stable existence where our day was getting ready for school, driving them to school, working in the classroom, picking them up, And doing that was going to be the most important gift that I could give them. People say, oh, that, you know, that you stopped working. And I said,
away.
But no, the difference is my intention had nothing to do with work. My intention was to step in to being with my children.
Yes.
And the other could wait.
It was just a fundamental choice that no one could have ever swayed me out of. And then it's so interesting to hear that, you know, because I think being a stay-at-home mom is the hardest job on planet Earth. Stay-at-home father, stay-at-home mom. That's the hardest job on planet Earth. Period.
For sure.
And to hear you say that is so comforting, because there was an energetic shift years in where I realized I must find myself again. And it's not the old me. I don't know what the new me is. I'm right here, right now. But where do I go from here? I should start to diversify my intensity into this, because at some point, is this going to be the best modeling?
I personally didn't feel like I could negotiate both. Like, I tried doing one film where I was leaving before they were awake, getting home when they were asleep, and feeling like nothing, like my work wasn't getting the best of me, my children weren't getting the best of me, and I was nowhere in the equation.
Yes.
And I just said, this is not healthy for anybody.
Yes. And it's such a relatable feeling. And when I would connect with other people, because I did feel so isolated and alone, it's so good to connect with other people.
And I have to say, I loved just being rumor scout and Tallulah's mom. Like, I loved that. I loved just being, like, and working in the classroom.
Also, it's the childhood I never experienced that I've wanted so badly for my own children to experience, was a paced out situation. So here we carbon copy again with our upbringing.
We had no guide.
And I love my mom wherever you are. I love you, Mom. I love you. I do. I'm so grateful. I understand now a lot of things.
I mean, I accept that my parents did the best they could. My mom did the best she could with the level of consciousness and awareness that she had at the time.
Yes. Which, when you're the child, I couldn't see it that way.
But we were both more the
parent.
Mother, the parent to our parent.
A straight-up adult, whether you want to call it parent or not.
I was talking with someone before about the idea that both of our parents let us take the car without driver's license.
At 13?
Yes. Driving on the freeway, mine would say, okay, here's the deal. You can take the car. If you get stopped, you just have to say you took the car without permission. And they kind of saw that as a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
But that is lunacy.
I did not take any anger or resentment into my own being a parent. I took oh my God, I have so much pressure on myself not to screw this up. How am I ever going to meet these standards? And what do I do? What do I do? When people go, well, you know, boundaries. No, I don't. Have you seen my life? No, I don't know boundaries.
No, boundaries.
What are they?
Discipline.
No. Routine.
Schedule.
What?
No, that was non-existent.
I mean, for work, I got routine.
But that was usually somebody saying, show up here, be here. This is when you have to be there. When you were left to your own devices, it was a major learning curve. Discipline was something I didn't know really existed. Discipline in the sense of routine.
When did you find it?
I feel like it was more a process, not like any one moment. It's almost, in truth, I have to say, I lived with my grandmother for a short time. And that's when I had a window of knowing that people show up when they say they will. That you can have, like, a Wednesday was her hair salon day, so we would go to dinner on Wednesday nights. Like, that for me, it was a revelation. It was like a revelation, like, oh, you're not going to be standing on the street corner out in front of the movie theater waiting for somebody to pick you up and not knowing when they're going to show up, or then have to figure out how you're going to get home.
I am so triggered right now, but I'm going to, because it's so true. And I know there are a lot of people out there that feel that way. And it's unstable, but it's a lot of people's journey.
I don't think my mother came into this world with the intention to be less than nurturing, to be neglectful, to to not really be able to show up as a parent for me. I think she came in with the innocence of a soul that wanted to find happiness, to feel love, and to belong. And when I look and find the compassion for my mother, I know that in that, I then open the pathway for my children to have compassion for me.
Yes.
Because we will make mistakes. We don't do it all right. We can make adjustments based on what we had or didn't have, but there's going to be things. And I just know that in that, seeing my mother, it's made us who we are.
Yes, that's the thing. I don't have
would you be doing this show?
No.
Having the courage to have stepped in from a whole life, being able to come in front of an audience, explore yourself, share yourself without having that same kind of drive, courage, without all that?
And also, not at all. And that is why I say to my mom, I love you, because the hard, weird, crazy choices you made led me to here. So thank
100%.
you.
It's so true.
I also feel like in the mistakes our parents make, in the mistakes we'll make, there is one mistake that I haven't made, which I'm very grateful for, and it is not having a missed opportunity to have healing with my parents. And by the way, there are some people who probably do need to stay away from certain people. There are toxic things that hi.
Oh, look who's here.
Dougie.
I love this. Come. Hi.
When you had the opportunity to have closure and healing with your mom, why did you take it?
You know, I had somewhat of an estranged relationship at the point that I heard that my mother had cancer and was dying. First of all, the nature of our relationship, I didn't trust it. I thought it was maybe a scam, which is already like a weird thing to experience. And so when when I got the call, there was an intuition, an instinct that said, you need to go and be there. And I had already gotten to a place where I didn't have anger towards her. I really was in a certain level of acceptance, even though there was still more healing that needed to be done. And it was the greatest gift. I went and ended up taking care of her for the last 3.5 months of her life. And because I went in with no expectations of her being different than who she was, there was one moment where she said she never really apologized. She never was able to get to that place even within herself. But what she did say is, I wish it could have been different, which told me that she knew that not everything was okay. And that was enough. Yeah. That was it. And I didn't expect it. So it was a beautiful gift. And we, at the very end, we threw birthday parties for her every week. She was very childlike. It was, there was a lot of humor. And so I feel like I walked away with more of her than I had when I went in.
I think these moments, knowing that you had that, made me feel so whole, because I'm getting to do that with my mom in real time, and I got to do it with my dad. And he never apologized. But he said, he looked at my feet and he said, you are made perfectly. That was...
My God,
that was as much as...
That's beautiful.
He could convey at that
really
point.
Beautiful.
And I hold that moment so sacrosanct. And I know that if I had held on to stubborn resentments and denied myself these whole filling, healing experiences, that would have been regrettable for me personally.
I couldn't agree more, because, no matter what, we are of our parents. We are part of them. And when we deny, when we hold resentment, when we have anger or upset or any againstness, really, we ultimately are just having againstness to ourselves. And so we cannot heal, we cannot become whole while we are holding anything against someone else.
You and your girls seem to have such an incredible bond. such a strong relationship. You're a mother, you're a powerhouse, you're the greatest talent, the biggest force. You're such a badass. You're so cool and sexy and beautiful and interesting. And you also made very important strides for women in Hollywood. How do we find our voices as women right now, too? How do we find our worth and the non-negotiable to feel equal in a way that feels non-disparaging of men, but completely non-negotiable empowerment of women?
One doesn't have to lose for the other to win. Like, I don't need to be disparaging to men to elevate my own sense and my place and my value. I think that there's been this, in a way, a conditioning that we've a collective consciousness, for lack of a better, that we bought into, right? That, like, women are less than men. And while that is a part of the circumstance, it's what we've bought into.
When you read the script for The Substance, how did it hit you?
I was blown away when I read the script. One, because it was just such a unique way of delving into the subject matter, because it's dealing with aging. And in particular, the male perspective of the idealized woman that we as women have bought into. And so you see this dynamic of this woman who's hit 50, who is basically being fired from her own show for aging out, and is at kind of the depths of this, like, rejection and despair, who's offered a substance that will bring out a new, younger, better version of herself. And I think I just, like, I looked at that part of it, and then the part of not what was happening to her in the circumstances, but the violence that she had against herself.
At Cannes. 13 minutes. What was that like?
This movie is so weird. I mean, it's weird. It goes to some crazy places. And just when you think it can't get any weirder, it goes and goes again. So I was humbled. But part of why I wanted to do this movie, which is very raw and very vulnerable, I knew going into it that it was going to be about showing not the most glamorous parts of myself, but it was also an opportunity to be, like, liberated by really, like, going into those deep, vulnerable places that we've all felt. I'm sure we've all had moments of going in, trying to get ready for something, and then going in, trying to fix it and get it better. And then it just gets worse and gets worse. And as you're trying to chase that perfection, that it just leads to that depth of self kind of loathing.
You guys buckle up for seriously one of the best and most extraordinary films I've ever seen in my life. I would have been there for 13 minutes and been like, let's keep going. And with that, will you play behind the scenes with me?
Okay.
It's behind the scenes.
What do I do?
Okay. When I say St. Elmo's Fire, what's a thought, a scene, a moment, something we don't know? The director, who's since passed away.
Yes.
But did he take care of you during that production?
He did very much. Like, in truth, I got sober during that film. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
And he stood by me to, you know, like, I walked through. I started that movie playing a drug addict with 15 days of sobriety.
And Jules, the character you created, is just, oh, she's so good. We were so invested in her. I mean, the movie kind of hangs, actually, in the balance, all wrapped up in your character. And are we going to be okay? And you earned that in an ensemble. I mean, the whole cast is so strong, but it's just so good. Ghost. What?
Sexy pottery. Look at Patrick Swayze's arm. Woo.
I feel like that is where the singular tear cinematic moment really birthed itself, was you and Ghost.
Which I had no control over. It just happened. But yeah, I was terrified of doing this when I saw like the level of emotion that it was calling for. I wasn't somebody who like cried really in my personal life. And so like I think I had become so much more a survivor in life, as you know, that like having to be open in that way. And so it was a scary undertaking for me to like learn to kind of allow that openness. But it came through learning to breathe. It was really like I didn't even realize that I was going through life kind of holding my breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop, probably.
I still catch myself all the time, like holding my breath, and I never associate it with that. Yes, okay.
That is it.
Indecent Proposal. Ooh. I just rewatched it. Is it true that Woody and Bruce were really good friends?
They were. I met Woody, I think, like the second time I had a plan with Bruce, Woody stopped by his house. So it was so weird having to do all the love scenes with Woody. It was like being with my brother. Like,
sex scenes are the weirdest things in the world.
Like, hey, let's be like we've known each other forever. And
also, like, right when you get lost in it, someone's like, cut! And you're just like, oh, I'm so embarrassed I got lost in it. Or you're not getting lost in it and it doesn't look sexy.
But, you know, Adrian Lyne had a very particular way of operating on the sidelines.
How?
Which Glenn Close gave me the 411 on for doing Fatal Attraction.
She directed Fatal Attraction.
And so she said, oh, do you have love scenes? And I said, yeah, actually, there's, you know, it's a whole, like you know, romantic kind of thing.
Real sexy movie.
And she said, well, just so you know, Adrian talks out loud on the sidelines. And so he was literally talking like, whoa, you know, so raunchy, sexy, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. And at first I was so thrown. And then I realized everyone is so focused on watching Adrian that I was like, okay, I feel more relaxed.
And it's
nobody's looking at me.
Strangest job in the world. If you're at a photo shoot or on set and someone's telling you to go for it more, that is your job to go for it more. It's so surreal. Okay, finally, striptease, which we talked about over there. That was... Rumor was in that.
She was, which,
what was that like? Because, of course, my girls now are like, you know, can we be in this? Can we do that? It was a big moment where we had really kept them way out.
Yeah. And so how it occurred is that Rumor heard me talking about the story on a phone call. And she came up to me later that day and hearing that it was about a mother and daughter, her age, and she says, you know, I really want to do that. And I was stunned. And so we talked about it. And then I said to the director and producer, hey, Rumor is asking about this. And so she had to go through the whole audition process, which was so stressful. She earned it. Like they opened it up. And it was a very sweet thing to do.
Was it joyful and...
It was. And, you know, there was one of the actual strippers, the real strippers on there who was quite ample, named Pandora. And I thought it was going to be this really wonderful bonding time. We're doing this on the set. And she'd always say, can I go have lunch with Pandora? I want to go have lunch with Pandora.
You're like, okay.
Okay. Anyway, yes, but sweet. Look at that. It's a big moment to make that choice.
Yeah, it really is. And now Rumor's a mom.
How crazy is that? And now my baby has a baby.
I mean, what is that like? What is that like?
It's so wild because there's a part of me that still feels like such a kid. And so...
I know, I still feel like I'm playing house.
But it makes me a great playmate. I'm great with her. She loves me. I'm Yaya.
When we did Charlie's Angels, Bruce came and played on it, and he opens up the film, and we got to work with him, And
I totally forgot that.
I mean, I used to know him when he was a bartender at Cafe Central. Yes, I've known him my whole life too.
That's
also,
so crazy.
How is he right now?
I think he's doing, given the givens, he's in a stable place, and it's what I say to my kids is you meet them where they're at. You don't hold on to who they were or what you want them to be, but who they are in this moment. And from that, there is such beauty and joy and loving and sweetness. When I'm, in LA, I go over every week, and I really, treasure the time that we all share.
But I drink where you are in, and it is the most beautiful, mellifluous substance. The substance I could ever imagine. You guys, wait and buckle up for The Substance, which is in theaters September 20th. 13-minute standing ovation in Cannes. Oscar buzz. The time is now. We'll be right back.